So you didn't finish your college career. You pulled out to pursue a career in singing. How did your family take that, and how did you pull that off? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the Mo Show podcast, episode 32. My guest today is a singer and a songwriter and a guitarist. She's involved in a women's football league here in Saudi Arabia. She's also a mental health advocate. Please welcome Sarah Chafei. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much for coming on such short notice. We spoke yesterday, and here we are 24 hours later in the studio.
I couldn't turn it down, honestly. It's so great to be here, and I can't wait.
I really appreciate it, Sarah. What have you been up to? How's everything going with you?
Everything's been going great. Things are picking up slowly in the music scene.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Corona came into the picture, things were downhill for a lot of people, not just the musicians here that I'm sure of. But we're getting back. Gigs are happening again, performances between Riyadh and Jeddah. So that's pretty much it in regards to the music scene. As for everything else, I think life is slowly coming back.
You know what? I mean, COVID probably did for you guys was giving you more time to practice at home. You know,
Definitely.
While we were all losing our minds, not knowing what to do, you guys had time to work on your hobby and get better at what you do, which is pretty cool. So from you do so many things. When we spoke yesterday, like I counted 17 things that you are either interested in or do. But were you always a creative? Were you always like the creative kind of person with a creative background?
Very much so, yes. I don't remember a time where doing something artistic or creative wasn't part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up here in Saudi, and thankfully I attended a school here that really catered to that. They really helped, plant that creative and individualistic mindset and a mentality into our routines, where it just became a part of who we are. It wasn't something like, oh yeah, we want to make you a creative person. No, we just want to make you, help you think outside the box
Mm-hmm.
and be your own individual that can express in many forms. They really, really helped out with that. I don't think I would be into all of this or who I am without, that push. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And music or practicing music in Saudi was a bit of a no-no growing up, my generation at least.
Yes.
And now you're seeing places like the music space open. There's probably something similar to that for Riyadh, maybe even for Sharqiyya, where, you go to a place that has live music, dinner, mocktails, and you're enjoying your evening as you would anywhere else in the world. That's really refreshing.
It truly is, Yani. I would never have imagined that we would have reached this point in stage here in Saudi, because I was born and raised here. So I've seen the stages and transition of things opening up. Next thing you know, I disappeared for 3 years though for uni, barely come to visit. But when I actually came back properly, I was like, is this really Jeddah? Is this Saudi? Wow. And the support in the community is just great to see.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are, on board, even those who were totally against it.
Yeah. You've played at the music space.
Yes.
I went 2 weeks ago. Blown away.
It's such an amazing venue.
Yeah, it is.
Truly, especially because it caters. Now, most places that us musicians perform or play in, it's like people come for the food or the coffee. They come for beverages, and we're there as background music or entertainment. As for the music space, what's beautiful about it is that it's made for music. Yes, they obviously have catering, beverages, food, drinks, dessert, but you're meant to come and watch. It's like a show. Yeah. It is beautiful, truly.
I always thought that that has a space in Saudi. There's a gap in Saudi for a cabaret, if you will, where you're having dinner and watching performance. It could be a magic show, it can be a dance, it could be whatever. But when we travel, you see people from our country going to such events because it's something that we're deprived of back home. So it's good to see that things are changing, and I think this is just the beginning of more of that kind of entertainment entering our country. Of course,
this is really just the beginning. It's just if we're starting backwards, it's the cherry on top, let's say. A great way to start off, truly.
Yeah. So in music, you sing, you write, and you play the guitar.
Yes.
So have you done any singles? Have you released any songs?
Not just yet. It's a work in progress.
Okay.
I might be dropping a single first and then a full album, or maybe just the album all at once. So yeah, it's just a work in progress. It will be out Hopefully by the end of the year.
Awesome.
I have no idea.
What kind of genre are we talking?
So my music, my original music ranges between, let's say, folky slash gypsy, a little rockish, has a little bit of pop in there. Like it has a wide spectrum of many things. You know?
I love it. I love it. We had Tam Tam on a few months ago, and you come from a similar background as she does. You know, a creator, a songwriter, a singer, and I'm glad to see that it's there's more where that came from. And I'm sure there's going to be more that I will meet in my quest to see what's the music scene really like in Saudi. Something that I thought was non-existent.
I didn't think it was existent either. Truly, like it is so surprising. Believe it or not, just in Jeddah, regardless of Saudi, because if we were talking about Saudi, we have over 500 to 800 musicians. If this is the case in Saudi,
really,
be it those who are professional performers or those that are in their rooms posting on Instagram and YouTube, the way we all started. Yeah. As for Jeddah, I can safely say there's around 150 musicians I personally know, whether they are professional performers, like I said, or people that are just online, posting on social media. Mm-hmm. And what's beautiful is that we all know each other. يعني حتى لو مش face to face, like we all support one another.
It's community.
We all jam and play with one another. There's none of that drama. Like it's just we're all one.
Do I have to beg or as the episode unfolds? I want to hear you. I mean, I'm not gonna.
I would love to.
I am not gonna beat around the bush. So whenever you feel like you want to, just stop me and we can go right into it.
Just let me know. I prepared an original.
You did?
Today. Yes.
Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Right now.
No.
Please. No pressure.
Sure thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry.
While I take a sip of water.
I do need to put the words.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, we have Sarah Al-Chafei.
So this is just an acoustic version, obviously, of the song. The percussion and everything else will be added when it's properly released. 526 miles, a 9-hour call and smiles, a joke or two said here and there. Next thing you know, I'm playing with your hair. And you've traveled alone 500 miles, 2 planes in a day, but I'll make it worthwhile. You've traveled alone 500 miles, and all we did for days was smile, smile, smile. And you know that it feels like a flower in bloom, a stranger in a day. It all happened too soon, and I'm breathing and breathing and breathing and drowning in you. And I'm breathing and breathing and breathing and drowning in you. 'Cause you make me feel like a flower shedding all her thorns. 'Cause you got me feeling like a flower shedding all her thorns. And you've traveled alone 500 miles, 2 planes in a day, but I bet it's worthwhile. You've traveled alone 500 miles.
That was so good. I don't want it to stop.
Thank you.
Is this going to be on the album? Is this going to?
Yeah. Yes.
That was so jazzy, bluesy.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I didn't want it to stop, honestly. Did you? So good. So good. Anyway, guys, that's a little brief of what's to come in episode 32. We've got Instagram live here. Sarah Al-Chafei. Tune in when the episode goes live in 5 or 6 days. Sarah, that was excellent.
Thank you.
I can't get over that. That was amazing. Poetry also, does that stem from your writing of music? Is that how you got into poetry? Are we talking English? Are we talking Arabic?
We're talking English. If anything, my mom's the one that writes Arabic, not me. But It's actually the opposite. In fact, my music writing stemmed from poetry, from my, from writing poetry in quotes and prose and short stories. I started writing original songs around 2 years ago, and I haven't released a single song, even on social media, like as a little snip or anything just yet. But
YouTube, nothing out there?
Nothing original, not just yet. It's all a surprise, like in the making.
Do you know what I've noticed? And I'm being dead serious. I have an interest in music. I really like my music. What I've noticed on YouTube, since I've been involved in that space by virtue of the podcast featuring on it, is that some of the cover artists, call them cover or whatever, sing a song better than the damn original.
Right.
Like some of these people out, and there's this girl in Indonesia, for example. Oh my God, probably has 10 million subscribers, and she like puts her own spin on songs, and they actually she sounds better than the artist, and her spin sounds better than the original.
That is almost always the case. There's always that one cover artist out there that can really do that. They just put their soul, their heart into it, and it's just all about feeling it.
Yeah. That's what's cool about the time we live in, is that if you're talented, your content would speak for itself. You have a platform now, whereby 30 years ago you'd have to go through a network, you'd have to go through screening, they'd have to cast you as to whether, if you're probably not pretty enough, you won't be featured through the network. There's a whole procedure, to get yourself out there. But now if you just have a mic and access to internet, you can be discovered.
Not just a mic. Many underrated, cover artists or YouTubers. Back in the day when YouTube was just first starting out, they would have a web camera or a phone. Yeah. And I was actually one of those. If you look back to my YouTube channel, you'll find a video from 8 years ago where I am using a web camera, an external web camera I know to record.
Yeah.
And I think back in the day, you'd have to you'd have to release a mixtape on tape or CD.
God.
And hand it out to people. Like, we're talking, I wasn't even born back then, but 30 years ago, that's how you went around. You went to a radio, you're like, hey, can you play this on the radio?
That's how it was.
Yeah.
It's crazy how the industry's changed. Really, like, it's just unimaginable. You also told me that you are active online in the e-commerce space. You sell art online. What was that experience like, and what gave you the idea?
Okay, so basically, my account on Instagram, pebble.sa, is an online, let's say, art gift shop sort of account where I do custom-based paintings on stones and pebbles. Mm-hmm. It started out actually in lockdown. It was a friend's parents' birthday, and I really wanted to get them something. I couldn't order anything online. Shops were closed. We were in complete lockdown. So I went to my garden and I saw stones, and I was like, stones, okay, paint. I can paint on the stones, and I can wrap them up, do something creative about it. So I drew on the stones. I painted something. I painted their zodiac signs. I uploaded it to my Instagram account. In the span of less than an hour, more than 25 to 30 messages of people asking, hey, where'd you order this from? How much is it for? Can I customize something? Who made these? I told them, be right back. It took me around half an hour. I set up the account. I made a quick logo, and I was like, you can order from there.
That's genius. You are an entrepreneur.
Next thing you know, we're in lockdown. I'm getting orders.
Come
but
on.
we ran out of stones in the garden. And my mom is like, girl.
Yeah.
But that's how it started.
I'm sure you've ordered more stones since, huh?
I actually go with my friends to the mountain areas here in Saudi, and we collect them. We get school backpacks. We fill them up.
Yeah.
We collect them. And especially the hardest part in the lockdown was the packaging. So you got to make do. And at one point, Jarir ran out of paint. Nothing online. All the artists, they were like ordering stuff online because there was no paint available.
Oh, wow.
We ran out of paint.
Wow. In the city?
I was talking to many painters and artists here at the time, and we were all going crazy looking for paint.
Wow. This is in the middle of lockdown, huh? That's crazy. But that's super smart of you too. I mean, look how that business idea was born. Are you taking orders today? I mean, is it something that's still active?
It's still active. It's been on pause for around 3-4 months now
Yeah.
because I'm focusing on music.
Okay.
But it's still there. It's still active.
Yeah. One day you can get back into stones.
Yes.
Why not? Keeping fit is something that is close to your heart. How do you, or what do you do to keep fit?
It's been very inconsistent over the years, but I'm finally back on track. And it's part of my life. It isn't like it's a lifestyle.
Mhm.
Being healthy and fit, both mentally and physically, is just something I've always strived and aimed to like turn into a lifestyle. Both weightlifting and football. So football training is 3 times a week, and gym is around 3 to 4 times a week.
Mhm.
And it's just something I've always wanted to do.
Is that a league? Is that a women's soccer league? Women's
Yes.
football league?
Yes, I'm in the Storm team here in Jeddah.
Mhm.
We have around 6 or 7 in Jeddah alone, and I'm in Storm,
What position do you play?
right wing.
You need to be fast for that.
I think I'm pretty fast.
That's pretty cool. I mean, to see that come to fruition, a women's league over here. How old is this league been?
To my knowledge, I think it's around 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Girls, forgive me. But I joined a few months ago, around, I would say 8 or 7 months ago, you could say, maybe perhaps.
Kind of new, huh?
It's pretty new, and it's absolutely great to see this. You know, I've been playing football since I was 8, and it's been a dream of mine to play on a team. I played back in uni in Beirut, but here in Saudi, and by golly God, the stamina and the talent we have here in Saudi in the women's team,
They're good. No?
they are amazing. They truly are, and it's a serious sport. And our coach is a man, and everything's open and it's legal, and it's by the federation, like the sports. It's it's
Ministry of Sports.
Ministry of Sports.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's acknowledged.
Mhm. That's what I like hearing, honestly. Inclusivity, where whatever you have for men, we need to have the same for women.
Exactly.
And it's good to see that. And I know they're serious about this league and wanting to grow it and it to reach, professional status one day. I know there's aspirations
Yes,
for that.
we compete against girls in Riyadh, in Taif, and it's a full-on thing.
Full on,
Yeah.
You have an interest in vintage clothing by the look of what you're wearing and what you told me before we
Paisley.
started. Do you sell any of that online, or is it just a personal interest?
No, it's just a personal interest that I was always drawn to. Then I grew up and I was like, okay, this is very much so me.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's I don't think I'd get into selling any of it or making my own line or anything of the sort.
Yeah. Sada, something that's close to my heart is mental health. I think it's something that's super important that we often maybe don't give it as much time as we should. With the hustle and bustle and stress of life, we can all use. I think everybody could use a bit of therapy.
Definitely.
And it's something that people are more, I think, getting okay with asking help on. It used to be like a stigma, people would be embarrassed and all that. It's good to see people, being more accepting of wanting help in that area. Something that's close to your heart is that.
Very
How are
much
you
so.
involved in that?
I'm involved in it in the sense of I preach about it on my social media, perhaps on my stories. If you follow me more than music on certain days, I will always vouch for people to reach out. I'm not a therapist. No, I do not have any background in psychology, nor do I claim. But it is it's a long it's a strong passion in my heart, because I truly believe that you need to ask for help. There's no such thing as a hayab, which is something we always hear, and people are now finally being acquainted and opening up. And thankfully here in Saudi, I speak for Jeddah because I live here, but in Jeddah at least we have lovely platforms and people that you can reach out to, and communities, including group therapy sessions. As someone who struggled with depression and mental health for quite a while,
You did.
yes, and many others that I know, it's an interesting journey of self-growth and development that's always, you never stop. And the first step is acknowledging that, hey, you might need a bit of help, or that you're not okay. which is to realize, okay, step one, I'm not doing so okay. Step two, do something about it in the best way you possibly can. Be it reaching out, being creative and expressing, talking to someone. Maybe some people it is keeping to themselves. But the first and the most important step is to realize it's okay not to be okay. As cliche as that sentence is, it's so true.
Totally. And the moment you feel okay in asking help, I think your life changes for the better. And then you wonder, why were you quiet all these years? So I urge anyone who's dealing with such to seek help, because the pain is temporary and it doesn't have to be like that forever. Heavy subject. You didn't study sociology and psychology, but you have a keen interest in philosophy, sociology, and psychology. You read books that are of that interest?
I've only recently actually gotten a wide collection of books to read up on, brush up on that, but everything else was mostly read on the internet, or dabbling here and there, or late at night, the History Channel years ago. When everyone goes to sleep, that History Channel turns into a very interesting channel to be up watching on.
Yeah, but I remember back in university in the States, a lot of people majored in sociology. I know what psychology is. I know what philosophy is. Sociology was a very generic area of interest that people who weren't sure what they wanted to do would go. What is the definition of sociology?
I think a basic definition of sociology is like the study of one's environment, surroundings, people's behaviors.
Why they do what they do?
Yeah, I feel like sociology, anthropology, philosophy, psychology, all of these are مرتبطين ببعض. They're all linked to one another. At the end of the day, when dabbling a little bit into psychology, you're going to want to know a little bit more about sociology, or you'll find a chapter of this and that here and there. So it's all connected to human behavior and life and existence, and even animal behavior at one point as well. It's all about one another.
What's next for you in terms of something you want to pursue in the next few years? You told me that you have a keen interest in wanting to learn the saxophone.
Hopefully,
a bit of maybe public speaking, opera.
Opera
You're
singing.
You have a foot in the door. I mean, you can go anywhere with that.
Opera singing and theatrical singing is a world of its own, but it's just something I'd also like to put a foot in here and there. Perhaps sometime in the future, along saxophone, violin, some of my favorite instruments.
What a great instrument that is.
Oh, beautiful.
Sax. Yeah. Almost can go with any song.
It can go with any song.
Yeah.
Even metal.
Even heavy metal.
Even heavy metal and rock.
With a sax? Wow. If it can go with heavy metal, then
there's now an electric violin.
I've seen it. Yeah.
It is cool.
Yeah. Was it hard for you to get into that music space? I mean, would you recommend it to like a younger sister that wants to pursue it?
To get into the music scene?
Yeah, I mean, just to...
Why not? I would push anyone, a younger sister, a stranger, whoever's interested in music or whatever passion that they have, and go for it. Why not? No matter what anyone says. People say that it is a messy industry, perhaps. It's all about how passionate you are about it. It's all about you really feeling it and not falling into the, let's say, the commercial side of it, where you lose who you are and your essence of it. There's a reason why you want to pursue and why you're into it in the first place. There's a reason why you're your own individual, let's say, musician. Just don't lose track of yourself throughout the process. If anything, find yourself within that process and journey.
How about that? For real. Would you want to take it as far as you can go?
Of course.
You wouldn't mind being a household name, like a pop star?
Oh, it's a dream. It's a dream.
Why not? I think you're on the right path with the way you sang that song.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, that was actually going to be one of my questions for you. Is what advice would you have to a girl coming up in that space? But you kind of answered it. Just push the limits and don't let anyone tell you that, you can't.
Of course.
So you didn't finish your college career. You pulled out to pursue a career in singing. How did your family take that? And how did you pull that off?
Well, I always knew. I never told my parents, but I always knew at the age of 17 or 18, once I graduated high school. everyone was off to uni getting acceptances, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, this isn't for you. It really isn't for you. Other than the fact that I changed majors like 3 times. Because I'm interested in so many things. There's so much I want to do. And going to university felt like I was limiting myself and narrowing myself down. I mean, I tried. I truly did. And I believe I will get back one day. Maybe sometime soon, maybe later on in the future. It is something I do want to have on the side. As a sense of like safety, you could say. But
your heart wasn't in it.
My heart wasn't in it. And for the time being, it's still not, to be honest. My parents were obviously totally against it. They still are, but they are supportive of what I'm doing right now because they see how happy I am and how I'm really pushing and striving for what I want to do. I went up to my parents and I was like, look, I love y'all. I'm going to get the degree at one point, but right now I want to put that on pause. I'm dropping out for now. I'm focusing on so many other things that mean so much more to me, that will take me so much further in life. I'm young. I'm 23. If I don't focus on this right now, I'm going to be in my 60s or 70s, looking back, having perhaps a degree in an amazing major, sitting in my room, but
thinking what
a
could have
rusted
been.
guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hands that shake that can't draw anymore.
Yeah. I like what you did, honestly. If your heart's not in something, don't do it. You followed your heart, and there'll be no regrets. Always go back to college.
I will.
This is the
Later.
time to do that.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist growing up?
Singer, like music, Christina Aguilera.
Good choice.
One of, this was growing up. Right now, what I sing isn't what I listen to anymore.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm actually into heavy metal and rock and a lot of jazz and blues.
Mm-hmm. You just can't go wrong with jazz and blues. It's timeless.
Oh, it really is.
Any cigar lounge, any, whatever. It's the kind of music to listen to.
You can't go wrong with
You
it.
cannot. Absolutely not. But metal, I feel like is it not a dying genre? I think of metal. I think of Guns N' Roses. And those people.
I think of Tool, Dream Theater, Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
There are many.
It's still alive and well.
It's still alive. Perhaps not in new music, there's no music, not new metal music coming out. But I guess we're all stuck in the past, us metalheads, and it can never get old, never get boring. And in Deep Purple, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. That's really exciting. I need to know the next time you're playing at the music space so I can come and watch. I love the fact that we have that facility, platform, where you can perform live in Saudi today. Who would have thought?
What a time to be here.
Big time. Can you request to go back and let us know when you do?
I definitely will.
So we can announce it on the platform and people can come and watch you.
I definitely will.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did we leave anything out? Is there something that you want to close with? Any advice, anything you want to put out there before we let you go?
Never stop doing what you love just because of your surroundings. Especially, I'm putting this out there to whoever's watching here. The presence of another person's talent or beauty or persistence should never be the absence of yours. Just because someone else has something that you want doesn't mean that you can't have it too.
True. True, absolutely, definitely. I mean, it's not something that is. It's a space that you can share.
Yeah.
And with what's out there today, it's never been easier. I heard someone say this online before. It's like it's never been easier to find your tribe, whatever you're interested in. Yeah. You can locate people and that have similar interests as you, and compare best practices.
It's very it's such a coincidence that you bring that up. I actually have something in motion, which is something called Social Oasis Space, S.O.S, hence also the S.O.S that we know that we stand for, which is actually just that, which is a community that I want to build at one point, which brings together people of the like.
Similar interests?
Of similar interests. Of course, unfortunately, or happily, let's say, there will be a filter out system and a small survey and test that I plan to put in motion so people can take. It can really bring us all together, us intellects, just to gather and meet and have maybe trivia night or a debate night or like a public speaking night. And it's something that I really want to push for the Middle East.
Yeah.
I will honestly say I'm aiming for the Middle East, as big as a dream that may seem. But I am now going to focus on first Jeddah specifically, then maybe go wider and wider. Because what an amazing, thing to have in the Middle East to bring us all together. It's like Internations, if you've heard of it, but more on the side of people who are on the creative, artistic side.
That.
Yeah.
So would it be like an app based where you, punch in your details and then it groups you with people who are similar to you?
No, I think I want it to be very selective, and it'll be along the lines of, well, it might start off first on something like Discord or a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group. I don't want it to be very commercial, and I just want it to be something casual.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. I like that. You're way more than a musician. Well, Asada, thanks a lot for taking time coming on the show. You have a hand in so many things. I mean, we touched on, your love for songwriting, for singing, for playing the guitar, one day the sax. You have poetry, English, maybe Arabic tomorrow. You sell online. You play football or soccer if you live in America. You also told me that you have a keen interest in baking.
Yes.
Yeah, it's another thing.
I've been baking for years, for fun, for friends. And recently all I'm hearing is, Sarah, you should put this stuff out there. You should sell this, sell that. So I have a plan sometime within the next month or two to set up an Instagram account. Maybe one day open an actual mini bakery, mini shop.
Why not?
That'll also be a book, like a library at the same time. That's a talk for another day.
That's a really cool idea with your song playing in the background. Well, thanks again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I love people who are constantly inspired by anything around them. Go-getters. You don't strike me as somebody who sits at home and does nothing, unless you're
some days we all do. We all do.
But you just strike me as someone who's hungry for more.
Oh, I am. I have such thirst and hunger for life, and I think everyone should have that feeling inside of them.
It's beautiful. Never lose that spark.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on the show, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure speaking and talking to you.
It's been amazing. Can I get another song, or is that all the treat I'm going to get?
Just for now, that's all.
Okay. So let me push my luck. Thank you, Sarah. All the best.
Thank you.